Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Vikram of phoneblogger.net and videosocials.net. Vikram, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Gresh, it's great to be here.
No problem. Super excited to have you on. And what I want to do is just read a little bit more about Vikram so you can hear about all the awesome things that he's doing. And Vikram is the co-founder of phoneblogger.net and videosocials.net. Both are word-of-mouth marketing services designed for attorneys, accountants, and consultants. Vic has been published by Forbes, quoted by many, and is a frequent presenter at bar associations, CPA Societies, and other professional associations. While his staff works from across the country, Vikram works from his home office in Harlem, NYC. Vikram, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Let's do it. So the first question I had was to hear a little bit more about what I call your CEO story and what led you to start your business.
Sure. So it's quite simple. It's about maybe 10, 15 years at this point, so it's been a little bit. So I first started as my father's right-hand person, his apprentice, so to speak. And my job when he left the main phone company here in New York, he decided to be a management consultant for small companies. And so my job was essentially to introduce him to referral relationships who were mainly transactional attorneys, CPAs, who would bring my father into their clients and help them with transition and process development. Along the way, about 6, 7 years after doing that, I wanted to bring my own clients on. At that point, I was from my early 20s to my late 20s, and a good number of essentially family friends, attorneys, accountants that were family friends around Long Island, I turned to kind of hoping to do the same thing, to be brought in as a marketing consultant. And a few of them wanted my help in the same way that I was helping my dad, and I was honored. But I didn't really realize what I was getting myself into, and that there's a rather large cottage industry around practice management and practice marketing. And then there are rules of the road, attorney advertising rules, there's FINRA obligations, the AICPA governs accountants. I had to kind of learn the do's and don'ts, what they're allowed to say, can't say, must say, along with, of course, fine-tuning marketing for them around word-of-mouth referral marketing, but using the internet as that was kind of fast-growing, and of course continues to be fast-growing, as you know. And that became our focus. So created practice marketing advisors, and then my book of business got really filled up. I brought on a partner, Mark Bullock, my current partner. His plate got full, and then we started scaling to create a service phone blogger and now video socials, and we go a little bit about the lessons around that. That's how it got started.
Nice. Well, I know everybody always has the focus and goal, and always here to make sure the niche down. And I think you spoke to it a lot as far as like understanding your market front, back, side to side, up and down. You understand all the things you can do and cannot do. And that definitely is very important, as you know, as far as marketing is knowing your audience more than
correct.
Anything.
Yeah. And knowing what makes them tick, also knowing what they need, even sometimes before they even know they need it.
Exactly. So I wanted to drill down a little bit deeper and hear, how you're working with clients, how you're serving the clients that you're working with your companies.
Yeah, sure. So Phone Blogger is kind of our main company, and through that, so the main need is that our clients, mainly attorneys, they get their more lucrative business through word-of-mouth referrals, very often from other lawyers. It's very similar to how like specialized doctors recommend each other, but they can't all do it all. They can't all be experts in everything. So attorneys are very similar in that way. So they need to stay top of mind with their peers, but also past clients and other referral relationships. One of the simplest ways to do so is to send out an email newsletter. It doesn't get nearly as much hype as social media, but more people check more email more times a day, more than any other social media combined. And the issue with email newsletters is the content. Who's going to actually sit down and write the articles? And getting our clients to do it was a real pain in the neck. So we said, well, what if we brainstormed article ideas with our clients, and we just set up a series of telephone interviews? And if they could say it in 5 minutes, we can type it up so that someone can read it in 5 minutes. And a blog article should be read in about 3-4 minutes. So that made sense and started working. And we started now having a regular weekly session with our clients, literally a 5 to 10 minute phone call, and everything else is taken care of. What they say turns into an article. We optimize it. We make sure it's within the attorney advertising rules. We get their approval, and then we can publish it on their blog. And then we can get it onto their social media sites. We could then get it into an email newsletter, and the cycle begins again. They get word of mouth referrals that way. They get speaking invitations, obviously direct business from their circle of influence. So it really works out well. And that's really what we do at Phone Blogger. And nowadays, when you go onto any of these social media sites, you go onto LinkedIn, let alone Facebook, every other post is video. And we wanted to figure out a way, in a very similar, creative way, to, lack of a better word, force our clients to start doing video blogging. They're all subject matter experts. They know what they're talking about. They're steeped in their practice and the area for decades. So there's no reason why they should suddenly become nervous when there's a camera on them. But I think to some extent we all do. And so we wanted to create a safe environment, a place where they can practice, a place where they can feel comfortable and literally just talk to each other and present a topic and make it really easy. So for example, we're using Zoom right now. So we bring together 8 to 10 of our clients onto a Zoom video meeting, a video call, and we each take 2 to 3 minutes to present a topic, essentially talking to around the room. And everyone uses their laptops from their offices. They're around essentially the New York area now, but it could be around the country. And once they record that 2 to 3 minute topic, we then stop and get some feedback from their peers right on the call, and maybe over a period of time, even introductions like, hey, Gresh, I know someone who should watch that video. That was really great what you just talked about. I'll introduce you to that person. And that's powerful because that's referrals right on the call. And then the next person goes, and it's like a round table. So 45 minutes later, everyone on the video call has just recorded their video blog for the week. Now they did it together. They had fun. They got it done. They get an email with that video. It's just them. Everyone else is hidden and on mute. And if they like it, they can click a couple of buttons right on our review page to post it on YouTube, on Facebook, LinkedIn. They can put it on their website. If they think they can do better, they come back the following week and they record the same topic, get some more feedback and introductions. And after 1 or 2 dress rehearsals, they got it down really well. And that's all they really need. And after they do this about 2, 3 times as kind of a video socials call, we have members now who are essentially good enough where they're happy with the result and they're doing weekly video blogging. And every time they record, they're spot on. And they were really nervous maybe in the beginning, and maybe they didn't know where to sit, or the lighting wasn't all that good, or they couldn't really fit it into the 2 to 3 minutes of the attention span and the allotment that we give them. But at this point, it's more like, hey, can we beat the clock? How close to 2 minutes can we get? Kind of like breaking the 4-minute mile. We can actually do it and do it consistently and make it where they are video blogging on their social media and on their website effortlessly. Again, together, fun and done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always, heard and, believe that, repetition is the real secret of everything. So the more times that you do it, you put in your 10,000 hours, quote unquote, and you start to become an expert at video blogging or whatever that is, because you've been doing it so many times. So I don't know if you already touched on this, but I want to ask you for what I call your secret sauce. And this is what you feel kind of distinguishes you or your organization. What do you feel kind of sets you guys apart?
Convenience and comfortability, and community. Happens to be all C's, but that was not planned. So definitely the secret sauce of what we feel that we're starting to really catch on at video socials is the community aspect. And there is technology behind it. We have a review page which upgrades the video into HD, and the APIs work with LinkedIn and Facebook, YouTube. So there's technology behind it. So that's a little bit of a secret sauce. But we feel what really makes this powerful and magical is how we're able to engender that community and camaraderie. I have a saying that I don't use too often, that people come to record, but they stay for the rapport. And it's the way that everyone's able to help each other and really see one another grow. And because not only do we grow when we get feedback, but even when we give feedback, we're reaffirming, edifying ourselves, and also, of course, helping that other person. So that nurturing of relationships is really powerful. And, they can take that offline, become referral relationships. But right in the room, to do video blogging together, fun and done, is really that central core. So it's making sure everyone's helping each other.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And a lot of times because we're social creatures, you sometimes kind of
Yeah.
forget that even though all this technology has sometimes, taken us away from it, still trying to harness a lot of that, relationship building, which is kind of what I think we thrive as humans, is definitely awesome that you're able to do that. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit and ask
Yep.
you for what I call a CEO hack. And this might be an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but it's something that makes you more effective and efficient.
Tremendously having awesome people on my team. I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but
I
that
think that's
is,
what everybody's looking for.
yeah, in terms of the answer, because my greatest hack is to make sure that it's somebody else's responsibility and they do a better job at it than I could do. A, because they're focused. B, they do it so often. So it's like the faster I can get it off my plate, the better. I feel it's almost like a stat. The faster I can hit the ball back to the other side, the better. I know I said one saying once to my wife, and it wasn't like meant to be a pithy cliche, but then she brings it up every now and then, sometimes uses it against me, that I know if I'm having to do something, something's going wrong in my company. It's like something like that, to paraphrase it, where it's like, look, if it's on my shoulders, something's wrong. And really, and that was really because of my partner, Mark. Before Mark, I was a solo professional. And everything was on my plate. Not that everything got done, but it was on the plate and something fell off and I didn't realize it. And Mark, A, was my partner, so that I stopped being solo, but for a long time we were kind of two solos, kind of like that, like binary star kind of thing. And then as Phone Blogger started, we had to bring on other people. We just couldn't do all the interviews and the edits. So we started developing this infrastructure of people. And that's really what transformed. And a lot of them are on staff, they're employees, but didn't start out that way, contractors. So I think anyone can cooperate and grow. It's another kind of tenant. Co-grow happens to be my father's company. So it's a tenant in there. Having a team, making sure that it's not all on you. I think it's better for the clients. It's better for you and your own lifestyle and happiness and being able to be with your family and work makes a dull boy. And it's obviously great for other people. Look, sometimes it's said sarcastically that we're job creators, but we ought to be job creators. And if it's not literally an employment job, we're helping someone else in their business, because if they're a freelancer or a contractor. So I think the more that we're trying to take it all on ourselves, it is a disservice to the client, disservice to our family, disservice to our country and economy and other freelancers and other people around the world, where we could be actually creating a better organization. So I think all around it's a triple win to create a team.
Yeah, I would definitely, echo that because, you always want to kind of, I don't know if higher up is the right phrase, but you always want to try to bring people on that are better at what you're trying to bring them on at than you are. So being able
Absolutely.
to.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, my staff is phenomenal. I marvel at what they're able to do. And I know, look, a lot of it is because they're able to focus on one aspect. But, they're great at that aspect. And it's hard to be great at everything, Can't be a jack of all trades, master of none. That's not a good way. Unfortunately, a lot of CEOs, or at least CEOs of smaller companies, feel that way. And, we need to be more the maestro and kind of, you can't see the forest from within the trees and all those cliches. So I think it's extremely important. It gives us that headspace to really think of strategy, vision, knowing how all the pieces fit together, ought to fit together, can be improved. And that is really our role. I mean, and look, for me, as a day job, so to speak, I'm a sales professional. I'm selling Phone Blogger. I'm selling video socials. So I try not to get twisted that, I got to bring in clients.
Right.
So that's my day job. So unfortunately, sometimes I can only really be the CEO in its true form in the evening hours and on weekends, or something. I have to carve that out during the day with my partner. But the more I can put that hat on, the better off everyone is going to be.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And that might be what I was going to ask you for next, which is a CEO nugget. And this is like a word of wisdom or piece of advice. And I sometimes say, like, if you can hop into a time machine, what would you tell your younger business self?
Build that team, build that infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's easy to say build systems, but then you end up with a bunch of manuals with no one else to do it. So it's like, all right, it's like writing a cookbook for yourself. It's like, well, that's nice, but I already knew how to make that meal.
Right.
If you didn't have anyone to teach it to, And it's actually, I think, better have that other person start writing the cookbook. They may not get everything right, it may not be 100% your vision, but it's, at least in the interim, they're writing it down. They can kind of follow a manual, and then you could kind of go in and massage that. And my staff, understands that happens all the time. Video Socials is going through that right now. It's not all systematized. So a lot of it is like, all right, let's figure it out to some degree, write out what you're doing, and then we'll start improving that. So to just say systematize, I think, is a little too artificial of what really it is. I believe make a small mess first, then clean it up. And part of that mess is bring someone on, someone that you can trust, has that character, has that work ethic, has a little bit of skills there. They don't have to be an expert. I think, it's like, I forget all the cliches, but it's kind of like hire for character, not for competence or something. It's not that you don't want someone competent, but it's hire for character. That's way more important because the trust is there. He or she will figure it out because they're going to do the right thing. And of course, sometimes you really need that, that degree or certification. You need to know that they know what they're doing. But if all things being equal, obviously we want the person with integrity, because everything else will work itself out when it comes to education and expertise. Good question.
Yeah, no, I absolutely would echo that too. And I agree with that because a lot of times when you're bringing on people, especially some of those soft skills are skills that are very hard to teach and learn.
Right.
It's hard to go to the degree of compassion, the degree of trustworthiness,
right.
The school of trustworthiness. So a lot of times you have to, have those soft skills, and then sometimes you can incorporate somebody into your culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. And I know you touched on this a little bit as well, but I want to ask you for what my favorite question is, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Vic, I wanted to ask you, what does being a CEO mean to you?
I would say it's like being a maestro of an orchestra. The maestro may have gone through classical training through maybe a violin or the strings or one other type, or the brass instruments or what have you. But now he or she, when they're in the maestro role, they know they're not an expert musician in any one of those instruments per se, definitely not at the level of proficiency of the current musicians he or she is conducting. But it's really helping them be the best that they can be. And really keeping everyone in time and in tune and having that bigger vision and being able to hear and see the forest, because it's hard when you're actually playing that one instrument. So we are that maestro, and that is our role. Now, sometimes we may have to step in and play an instrument because that's just kind of the nature of real life. But the more we can spend time out while appreciating that they are experts, and we want to affirm and empower their expertise in each person's instrumentalization, I think that's more the empowerment that goes into a lot of that we need to empower each of our staffers or our teammates to make sure that they are doing their best and allow them that freedom, that autonomy, to make mistakes, get better, teach others, create kind of a quartet around them, create kind of a unit around them so that they feel empowered and they can get it done, because no one should feel like everything's on their plate. The CEO shouldn't suddenly be, the maestro that's like, all right, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. Everything's on your plate now. Like, that's not cool. Like, so there always needs to be that backup. So hopefully that helps as a metaphor. We use that a lot.
Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense, and it definitely hits home because, you want to be able to have kind of like a hot potato, that old school game mentality, where even the people that are on the team and that are executing some of the things, that's not necessarily their zone of genius or their lane, they're able to pass it on to somebody else or pass it back, whatever, wherever it needs to go. But having that understanding definitely helps out a lot. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, and the more we're having trios that people can work together so that it's not on anyone's plate, so that if something happens where, they get sick or they have to go on vacation, or we don't want any one thing being reliant on any one person. The key personnel issue is a big deal. The only thing worse than having your company dependent on you is your company dependent on someone else on staff. So, a lot of that is like, hey, what would happen if you X yourself out of the equation? What would happen to your company? What would happen if your key personnel got X'd out? That's even worse. Yeah. You'll pick up the pieces. You'll figure it out. You're an entrepreneur. You're the CEO. But if that person suddenly happens where he gets a better offer, or he goes on vacation, or he fall sick, what would happen then? That's almost, even scarier. So from that aspect, we believe in like having trios and backups and things like that.
That makes sense. Well, Vic, I appreciate you for taking some time out. What I want to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just to see if there's anything additional you can let our readers and our listeners know, and then, of course, how they can get hold of you.
Yeah, any questions anyone have? I love doing these kinds of things. I do a lot of presentations. My core market around lawyers and accountants. So that's really where we work. Consultants have also gotten attracted to what we do because they're, of course, subject matter experts. So I would almost extend the invitation not only to you, Grish, but to any listener if they want to ever come onto a video socials call as my guest to get a free video out of it and present a topic, just to try it out. I only ask that they tell their friends, tell their colleagues about what we're doing, because I think what we're doing is kind of fun and special. But anyone, just kind of send me an email, and it'll be fun to find the right type of video blogging club that fits into what they do. And there's going to be room, and we'll find time, and it'll be great for them to take a spin. I'd be honored if they wanted to join as a member. We're very low cost, but nevertheless, take a spin, get a video out of it, and tell their colleagues.
That definitely sounds good. And the best way is it for them to go to the website to take advantage?
Yeah, they can go to videosocials.net. They can shoot me an email directly, which is Vik, at phoneblogger.net.
Okay.
And that's the easiest way to reach me. I mean, you can easily find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. They could probably find me, but that's really where I'm hanging out with friends and family. But, we'll figure that out.
It sounds like a plan. And we'll have all those links in the show notes as well. So Vic, I appreciate you for your time and appreciate all the awesome things that you're doing. I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day.
Thanks for the follow through, Grisham.